Take your mind into the wonderful world of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Conversations with you and guests. With your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. That's me.
About our bodies being alkaline. How do I know if I'm too acidic? Are there symptoms? And then if I do find that out, what's the best way to get my body back in balance and get it more alkaline?
First of all, you get pH strips now nearly everywhere in every pharmacy for a couple of bucks. So it's a saliva test or a urine test. And you can find out within seconds if you are acidic, if you're in a blue range, which you are alkaline, which are pretty safe, or you're getting more and more into a yellow range, which would be acidic. And then you should really instantly stop eating red meat. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not promoting to be a vegetarian because I think every extreme is wrong. And all of my friends that are vegetarians, they all look like they're going to die tomorrow. So I'm not really a proponent of any form of extreme. I think we can eat everything as long as we do 70% right, living food, lots of enzymes. We can do 30% wrong. But I would stop immediately everything is acidic, like coffee, like alcohol, and start instantly juicing in the morning, 1/3 each, apple, celery, carrot juice every morning. A lot of people get lots of diarrhea from it, which means they have a lot of toxins in their system that have to come out. But really, basically, in my experience, you can stop the growth of cancer really, really fast. And we have to come back to my element. I'm the only one that's taking care of the root cause of cancer, mental and emotional stress. We now talked about the symptoms of the physical body. But if you don't eliminate the bad relationship, the bad marriage that keeps you down so much that you don't want to live anymore, if you don't change the horrible job you cannot bear any longer, if you don't develop the self-esteem and self-love you need, you will always live in stress. And as long as you live in stress, you're going to be acidic. There's absolutely no way around that. You cannot heal while you are in a state of stress because you're in a state of fight or flight. So the body, the metabolism gets shut off. The body cannot heal as long as you are stressed. That's why you can only heal while you are asleep. And my CDs give you an equivalent in 20 minutes of 8 hours of deep restful sleep. And that's what we did with our patients. We make sure they have this taking the hand off the table edge, stopping the rubbing, focusing to the inside. But you have to uncover what changed. What is the root cause that made me sick at the first place? What is the root cause that led to the lack of energy that allowed the body to malfunction or create this traumatic health challenge? And this is basically where you really have to look at, where you have to understand, if you do not get rid of the root cause, it doesn't matter what you do physically, you will still die. So you have to identify and eliminate the root cause of your lack of energy that led to the cancerous growth or any other form of disease. Otherwise, there's absolutely no way for you to recover or stay healthy at the first place.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Kinetic Hour. I am your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. Welcome one, welcome all. Thank you all for tuning in to another edition of the Kinetic Hour as I am streaming live on Instagram, streaming live on Instagram, streaming live on Facebook, and streaming live on LinkedIn. So welcome to all of you that are tuning in. As always, go to my YouTube channels, and there's always to the Kinetic Hour. Subscribe, leave your comments, click thumbs up, tell everyone that you know to tune in to the Kinetic Hour. Tell everyone that you know to make comments on the Kinetic Hour. Tell everyone you know to make comments regarding the comments on the Kinetic Hour. And my other YouTube channel is Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info. Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info. That is KENNETIC. And that's for everything that's related to health and wellness, physical and mental, emotional and spiritual. So thank you all for subscribing. Go to that channel and subscribe as well. Leave your comments. There's plenty of information there regarding health matters. And you may get some great information out of those. So thank you for tuning in to the Kinetic Hour. Before I go into the clip that I just showed there, I'm going to report on this because a couple of episodes ago, I reported about a story involving, let's see if I can pop this story up here. Let's see. Oh, here it is right here. So here's the headline, because a couple of episodes ago, I talked about this right here. Headline, it says, all the valuables Rudy Giuliani was ordered to hand over to his victims. All the valuables Rudy Giuliani was ordered to hand over to his victims. And his two victims being one, and there he is right there, Rudy Giuliani. Oh, Rudy Giuliani. Let me back it up a little bit. But yeah, Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani has to pay up to his victims. And since, and remember, I told you he had a $148 million settlement in damages for defaming Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, or Wandria Moss is her name. And so Rudy Giuliani has to, if he can't pay through monetary means, that means now we go after his assets. We go after his assets. Giuliani tried to declare bankruptcy earlier this year to avoid paying the damages. He was already in major financial trouble before the 2023 defamation verdict. And he said he could not afford to pay the colossal sum a jury awarded Freeman and Moss, who is her daughter. But the former mayor's bankruptcy case was dismissed in July. And since then, the plaintiffs have been attempting to make Giuliani turn over the money they are owed. So Rudy Giuliani, and here you can see the 24-page court order, that he has to turn over his assets to get as close to whatever the equivalent of $148 million would be. And as you can see here, a list of some of his assets that he has to fork over to these two ladies that filed this defamation lawsuit and won a $148 million settlement. So and he has 7 days to do this. He has 7 days to do this from today. From today, 7 days. So they get, shares of properties. I guess he has apartments. Looks like he has whatever he has cash in his accounts with Citibank. Account numbers 1428 and 5812. They also get other assets, I guess assets that they can liquidate. They have this 1980 Mercedes Benz, various items of various items of furniture, television, sports memorabilia. The list goes on and on. Jewelry, rings. You can see he has a huge watch collection. That's a whole lot of stuff. Any additional property as may be ordered by the court upon motion of receivers or other judgment creditors of defendant. So yeah, he has to pay up in assets over the next 7 days, or else other things excuse me, other things may be taken from him. So that's Rudy Giuliani. As I go back down, there he is. And I guess rightfully so that he would look like that after having to pay off all of his ordered things, monetary assets. Excuse me, real quick. All right, I'm back. um, so not a technical difficulty, but I had a scratch in my throat, so I didn't want to start coughing on the air. So, but I'm back now. But as I was saying, so before I took my small break, I showed the report on Rudy Giuliani, as he has to pay up in assets now, $148 million worth of assets. So good luck to him for that. Just doesn't pay to lie to the public, especially when you know that what you're telling the general public as the truth, and you know it is an absolute lie. And you know this. So good luck to Rudy Giuliani with that. So now to the clip that I showed at the top of the show. That was Dr. Leonard Caldwell. His name was first introduced to me back in 2009, maybe 2010. And I've been a total admirer of him since then. Matter of fact, because I've gone to a couple of his presentations in the past. Matter of fact, I have one right here. I'll just kind of take us back a little bit. There you see me there at one of his seminars. This one was from July of 2011. That was from July of 2011. So there I am with, that was the first time that I got to see him live at that time. And then I have one more. This one here is another one. This one is with Dr. Caldwell, myself, and my mother right there in the middle. That's my mother, best-selling author Louise Hicks, with her book A Hill to Climb. But that's Dr. Caldwell there on the right. Brilliant man. I can't really say too enough about him, which is why I featured him in the at the top of the show, speaking on cancer, because cancer, this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this is actually part 2 of my, I guess, series, for lack of another term. I guess that's what it would be called. But I pulled up a article that I did on Facebook back in 2011 and made some edits and modifications and additions to it over a 3 or 4 year period. And I pulled up the last edition that I posted back in 2014, and I was reading from it and giving some extra input after reading a couple of passages. Well, I'm going to continue to read what my thoughts were on cancer, because one, with the clip that was just shown regarding cancer, he mentioned the pH, checking your pH, which is potential of hydrogen, meaning how clean is the water that makes you you, because all human beings are, and depending on who you ask, the range will vary. But I think it's pretty well a consensus that the human body is maybe 75 to 80% water, whether it's your blood, whether it's your lymphatic fluid, whether it's all the water that creates the mist that comes out of your breath when you breathe. We live in a water world. I mean, everything about us and nature is about water. So your potential of hydrogen, whether you are alkaline or acidic. And I had some strips. I don't have it anymore, but I do have the chart that came with it, and I'll just put it up here close to the camera so people can see. Now, right here, you have what he was referring to in the dark area. If you're in the dark area, that means you are highly in the alkaline range. Now, as you can see, from the bottom heading towards the top, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, all the way to where you see the pH level is now at a 5.5, which means that your body is highly acidic, meaning that if your body is highly acidic, or what we call acidosis, then your body is wide open for the potentials of illness, including that of cancer. No matter where it shows up in the body, cancer. And knowing what your pH level is can be a great indicator that illness may be lurking, depending on your pH, how alkaline you are versus how acidic you are. And being human beings, we have to have a very delicate balance. That's why I loved when he said that there is no, when you're extreme, every extreme is wrong. For the hardcore vegans, the hardcore vegetarians, right? Even the hardcore carnivores, right? So it's about creating a delicate balance for yourself so the body can stay in harmony, or what we call homeostasis, so you can live beyond 100 years. I mean, this is the natural nature of the human body, and there's no disputing it. So I'm going to continue and keep reading these passages here, and I'll digress and bring in some other input. But I'm going to start here. Let's see. We left off right here. And I'm going to just go ahead and put it up here. So right here we have, and I'm going to put on my special reading glasses here. Fear. Talking about fear. Because fear is an emotion. Fear is an energy. And fear can create an adverse chemistry in the body. Fear creates stress, as it says right there. Stress. Fear creates stress. Stress creates fear. Both create negative physiological and quantum imbalances and depletions, and this creates cancer. When women and men finally get the correct information they deserve on the true causes of all cancers, breast cancer included, they will understand it is a self-inflicting illness, as they have always had the power to cure themselves without chemical therapy, mustard gas from World War I and World War II, radiation, extremely high man-made electromagnetic frequency waves, hence X-rays, or sudden surgery, unnatural purging of the anatomy. When your pH level or potential of hydrogen is 7.4 or above, you cannot develop cancer of any kind. This is a biological or biologically proven and documented fact globally. Consider this if you will. No more mammograms. The radiation from this procedure will increase the risk of breast cancer development by up to 5% annually and may rupture the cancer walls or lymph nodes from the massive pressure against the breast. No more biopsies, which puncture cancer cells and tumors so these toxic cells can roam freely throughout the bloodstream to house themselves in other acidic areas within the body. No more checking under your breast once a month, starting at the age of 40, which creates negative thoughts or worry of having cancer in a specific area. And habitual negative thoughts will eventually manifest your negative physiological symptoms. This is how the human mind and body work in tandem. You become that which you think of yourself. This age range may drop to 35 or even 30 in the next decade. Okay. No more of your gorgeous hair falling out. Before we even get to that, let's just stop at right here. You become that which you think of yourself. As Dr. Caldwell said, and I'll come out of here just for a sec. As Dr. Caldwell said, and as I've said on previous episodes, many quote disorders, and in this case, cancer, or in this case, breast cancer, as we're talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But it doesn't matter, just cancer. As Dr. Caldwell stated, all the negative experiences that we hold on to and never release from the body, this manifests, right? It manifests and it turns into something physical within the body. All of the invisible energy that you can't see, but you can feel. You can feel it. And we hold on to these feelings, these emotions for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, since childhood for many people. And they're in their 50s and 60s. And it manifests into cancer. So the emotional traumas need to be addressed. I can't stress it enough. The emotional traumas, the emotional hurts that have been done to you or that you may have done to others, whatever it is, the more we keep them or hold on to them because we don't want people to know, because we believe we may be judged or talked about behind your back, right? Judgment, criticism, judgment and criticism. Those are two of the main reasons why people keep things inside. Hence, cancer. Uh, and again, this isn't me saying this because remember, I'm not the doctor. I don't have DR in front of my name. I don't have MD behind my name. I don't have PhD behind my name. So I've been saying this for quite some time, for almost 2 decades now. I've been talking about this and saying this. But coming from someone like Dr. Caldwell, it becomes a more credible piece of data and information for the general public to swallow, or at least consider. Or at least consider. Uh, so let's go back. Let's go back to reading. I'm going to go to the next the next page here. So we're going to go right here. So we're going to go here. About the age range of women having mammograms. This age range may drop to 35 and even 30 in the next decade. No more of your gorgeous hair falling out. That's where we left off. This is from conventional man-made radiation and chemical therapy that kill every fabric of all human hair follicles. No more having your breasts removed unnecessarily, with no efforts in learning of the root cause, as this is a quick moneymaker for the surgeon and is one of the most heinous frauds and insults against the female anatomy, with the hysterectomy being the other most heinous fraud. No more extreme weight loss, because the unnatural chemicals and radiation literally suck the life energy out of all your vital organs and cells. No more being bedridden for weeks on end because of extreme weakness. Again, this is from the overwhelming onslaught of radiation and chemical therapy that destroys every divine process of being human. Do you think and believe your primary physician would prefer having any of these standard treatments and after effects if they were diagnosed with cancer? This is something to ponder. Think for a moment. Would you rather pay pennies on the dollar of your hard-earned money to prevent or heal or cure yourself of your illness, or go into massive debt, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to the pharma industrial complex because they have faithfully conditioned and programmed you to fear cancer? To fear cancer. And I'm going to stop right there for now. Most oncologists, they understand and know exactly what chemotherapy does to the human body. They've known for decades. Most radiologists know what the high frequency of radiation does to the body. They know. I mean, it's like having an x-ray. When you have an x-ray, you know how they put that heavy bag thing over your chest and back. So when you have an x-ray, that frequency, you don't feel the frequency. You don't feel the frequency. Can you imagine if they pulsate those frequencies upon you for seconds at a time, off and on, off and on, off and on? If you didn't have that covering, that protection on, that's why they have to walk out of the room before they click that switch, because they know what's going to happen in that room within those nanoseconds. Radiation, or in this case, long-term x-rays. So I'm just going to read something here. Oh gosh. Cancer is cancer's big business. I already told you in the last episode, I mean, it's over $300 billion industry globally. 300 billion. I mean, and here in America, there's been a quote war on cancer since 1971. I'm going to read this passage here. And people think I'm crazy when I start talking about this stuff. This is coming from, and this is a wonderful book here, and I've highlighted it a few times now. This is coming from Dr. Layla Ali's book. It's called So You've Been Diagnosed with Cancer, and Now You're in a Panic Handbook, an Overview of Options. Dr. Layla Ali, pharmacy doctor. And this is about physicians here. This is about physicians and the legal terms that they have to follow versus above all else, do no harm, which is the Hippocratic oath that doctors really don't adhere to anymore. And this is coming from her book here. The legal system is biased towards conventional medicine. Let me come up to the mic here because I want everyone to hear this. The legal system is biased towards conventional medicine, including chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. The FDA has threatened doctors who have prescribed natural remedies that do not fall under the approval of an FDA-tested drug. Doctors can face legal challenges and sometimes fail to be reimbursed by insurance companies, causing financial loss and emotional stress. Consequently, the doctor's freedom to treat cancer can be severely curtailed, as is the patient's right to choose holistic cancer treatments. Other points to remember. Medical doctors are only allowed to prescribe chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery for cancer treatment. Doctors can face disciplinary action or have their medical license revoked for using alternative or holistic therapies. It is illegal to claim to cure cancer. And it's been that way here in America for decades. Anytime you hear of an illness, or anytime you hear of an illness spoken, whether it's a physical condition or a disorder, mental disorder, what do we hear? There is no cure for it. Or you'll hear, we don't know what causes it, right? That's the standard of what we hear. It is illegal to claim to cure cancer. The FDA and AMA, which is the American Medical Association, in the past has used this as a reason to raid and close down clinics that offer natural and alternative treatments. Next, there are now reports of lawsuits involving children who are diagnosed with cancer. The law requires them to be treated with chemotherapy despite severe and sometimes permanently damaging side effects. There are cases where the parents choose to have their child treated with holistic or natural therapies or treatments, but the courts ruled that it is or was illegal, and the child was forced to endure chemical therapy or chemotherapy. In essence, medical doctors have many rules and regulations to follow when treating cancer patients. Their education primarily teaches standard care of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery, and they are further limited by strict laws on cancer treatment. So now you have a better understanding of why these treatments are the standard, why they are. And if a physician dares to go against what has been laid out for them under the medical establishment, then they can get their medical license terminated. terminated what they've worked long and hard for 4 to 8 years, studying, reading books, picking apart cadavers, right? Dissecting, learning the anatomy, learning body chemistry, right? But as soon as they start learning about anything that has to do with their true nature versus what has become the standard, the old John Rockefeller way of handling illness matters, then we keep seeing the prolonged onslaught of reports of more and more people developing illness, whether it be physical or psychological. I mean, this should not be surprising to anyone. And for those that didn't know, now you do know, because there are other options. Just checking your pH level, as I mentioned earlier, checking your pH level to make sure and see that you and your blood and water capacity is at a higher level of pH, alkaline, 7.4 or above. 7 is neutral. 7 is neutral. And then you don't have to check under your breasts once a month, right? Looking and wondering and worrying, having it on your mind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because when you have those negative notions, as the universe would have it, something at some point will manifest. What does Esther Hicks say? What you try to resist will persist. Earl Nightingale, you become what you think about most of the time. I mean, all of this relates to health as well. All of it. And usually, and most of the time, and I showed you at the beginning of the broadcast, Dr. Leonard Caldwell has one of the highest cancer cure rates in the world. He's retired now, but if not the highest cancer cure rate, I think it's upwards of 91, 92%. Over we're talking maybe a 30-year stretch. So there are ways to heal yourself of cancer. There is no such thing as no cure. And I've said this on the show as well, coming from Dr. Caldwell, because he told me this out of his own mouth. There is no such thing as an incurable disease, only incurable people. Only incurable people. That's not me saying that. This is the PhD saying that. The one that has one of the highest cancer cure rates. That's him saying that. Not me. I'm not the doctor. What do I know? What do I know? That's him saying that. Meaning that when people become open to new information, that's great. When people become open to new information and because we've seen over the decades, I'm pretty sure everyone that's watching this has had somebody that they know that has had cancer and that has gone through the standard protocols. And we know what it does. We've all seen it. And we keep taking our family members into the standard facilities, the standard cancer facilities, time after time, decade after decade, over and over again, nonstop, knowing what the pattern has been for the last 50 years. We know what the pattern has been. So again, as we look for solutions, the first, I just gave you a few. Check your pH. Check your pH, and you can get this at any health food store. Not maybe not necessarily this brand, but just go to any health food store and ask one of the employees to get you pH strips so you can check your pH levels. And also start drinking more water. Can't stress that enough. I mean, the body's made of water. I mean, just to kind of heal acidosis, your body being acidic, just dilute all the toxins by drinking water so you can flush all this crap out of your system. And water is so magical. I'll just end with this. Water is so magical. And Mona Harris, Dr. Mona Harris, she's passed away now too, but she was a genius too when it came to just water and how magical water is. Dr. Emoto, same thing. He's in a movie. He's passed away now too. He's in a movie documentary called What the Bleep Do We Know? Explaining the magic, right? The majestics of water and how powerful water is when it comes to human healing. But yeah, water. Start drinking more water. Preferably, the more natural the water is, the better. Spring water, natural spring water, water that hasn't been, or water that comes from some spring up in the mountains. Some people still praise the Kingan process of electrolysis. You can go that route if you choose to, which is great at actually getting the water to enter into the cells at a much faster rate. So you can go that route as well. So water, can't stress it enough. Water. I'm going to end it right there and talk about more about cancer, because the more that we know and understand, the more we can make better decisions versus falling into the chemotherapy trap or the radiation trap, right? Or the surgical trap, purging, have to split you wide open to take the cancer out without getting to the root cause, which is why the cancer comes back or it grows again in the same spot or the same area or in the same proximity. So these are some things to think about when we're having cancer diagnosis, especially for those that have already had cancer and have gone through the standard protocols. These are the things that you want to do to prevent yourself from it reoccurring. Go to my YouTube channel, The Kinetic Hour, subscribe, click thumbs up. Leave your comments. And they're always appreciated. Go to Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info as well. Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info. Tell everyone that you know to tune in. Thank you to everyone that tunes in. Again, tell everyone you know to tune into the Kinetic Hour. And until next time,